Jupyter Notebook through the terminal. Let that run up. Okay. So the first step is going to be to install certain libraries in Python. And so if you don't have anything, if this is all new, you're going to want to go new and then go to terminal. So in this one, we want to tell it to install our libraries. And so I've listed them at the bottom of the YouTube video. But for the first one, we can say, for example, now it's already on my computer, so it's going to tell us so, but you're going to say conda install seaborn. And so it will run through and it will download everything for you. I already have this. It says, you know, it already exists. I could update it if I want to, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. So go for all 4 of them with the same method. So conda install, and then do the next one like numpy or whichever one is next for you. So wherever you saved that file that you should have downloaded from the Google Drive, you want to go find it. So for me, I have to go through here. Okay, so this has been renamed a few times. I'm going to open this one up. And so this is going to be your notebook that we're working in, and it's going to be the seaborn example. You don't have to worry about this part, that's my own notes. So the first thing you want to do is to run this cell that's in here. So to do so, you just press Shift Return. You have to press first Shift, then Return. And you can see it jump to the next one. So you press that again, Shift Return. So it's going to read the CSV, and this is going to direct Jupyter Notebook to read my desktop. Except I want to put in the name of the file that we're going to have it read. So it's going to be called something called 1 through 3 real. Actually, let me check to make sure that's okay. Yes. Okay. So Shift Return. All right, so now this part is basically setting up the plot that it's going to make, and I'm going to have it take the X to be the date. For Y, I'll say I want to have yttrium in this case, and it's going to have different colors, so you can change the color that you want. Right now it's using something called rocket, and I've turned the legend off, but you can also turn it back on by saying true. This is going to be the dates that I wanted to plot. So from 1000 to 1200, you would have to change this to be whatever makes sense for your data set. And then in this case, I want to invert the axis. This is what that's telling it to do. So I want it to go from 12,000 to 1,000, and I'm sorry, 1,200 to 1,000. So basically what this does, instead of it being from 1,000 to 1,200, it flips it. So we've got 1,200 to 1,000. Okay. Now you're going to set the label. So I'm telling it I want this label to be the date MA, font size, same thing for here, yttrium and ppm. It's going to, put the lines through here. And you can label it something that's more realistic instead of something crazy like this. Date, yttrium, whatever. And then it'll save this figure to wherever your Jupyter Notebook file is saved. That's where the figure is going to save to. So yeah, we could take a look at what this looks like here. Shift Return. So you can see there's the data set with the yttrium up here, and the date, which looks great. So the other things that we can do as well, and let me get up another notebook to show this. 1 second. The way that we can go about this is to add in what we call the hue and also the style. And so I could tell it I want the hue to be type, which you're going to see what that looks like in a second. And I want the style to be domain. And then I've changed the colored sort of like to be something called colorblind, which will make sure that this is friendly when it picks the colors. And once again, you can have the legend to be true. So keeping everything else the same in terms of the x-axis and then the yttrium. And then here we could put something called new so it doesn't override the last thing that we did. When you press shift return, you can see here now that it is going to classify things, the color, which is hue, by the type. So this is different layer types. This is 1, 2, and 3. But now it's changed the domain, so if it's a core mantle or rim, that has changed the style of the actual points it's plotting. So you got squares and X's and such to help delineate for you. And so this is really helpful for monazite dating analysis. And then you can also put like uranium in through here and change all of these different parameters and see what does the uranium look like, keeping everything else the same. If you want to make plots that will then be used for, figures and things, and for instance, this is kind of like in the way. I'm sure there's a way to code it, but the way I do it is I would change this to false, and I would produce 2 different types of plots, and I would also change it to a PDF because those are more easily accessible for Adobe, that you can change things. And so I would save one out without it, so I'd go like this. So now we have a nice PDF with no legend, and then I would do another one called ledge, and I would say true on here. Then I'd run it, and then in Adobe I'd sort of like pull all this out and make a separate nice legend underneath the plots that I've generated. That's the trick, and there's lots to do. You can lots to code, but that is the basic for plotting the petrochronology.